Hi Caroline, how are you doing today?
Alright, how are you?
I'm good. Last week we talked a little bit about the anxiety that you were feeling when it came to your future, and especially because you have a big tennis match coming up, and you
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of like people coming to see you, and they may they're scouts and they may want to give you scholarships to their schools. So I understand that you're a lot of pressure under that.
Yeah, just like right now, I kind of feel like I'm just like in a crossroads. Like it's my senior year. My parents are like really pushing on me to um, follow through with tennis this year. You know, scouts are coming this week. Actually, I have a big match coming up, and I think they're just like really counting on me to get a full scholarship for that to like a Division 1 school and to pick a career. I feel like I'm still a little bit like unsettled in my career choice and where I want to go to school, and that all that. So it's just kind of a lot of pressure I've been feeling lately, like from my parents and everything.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your the career confusion.
Mhm.
You had told me before that your parents want you to. They're both doctors. They want you to be in the medical field. They
Mhm.
prefer you to be a doctor, but that's not exactly what you want. That's not your passion.
Right. I mean, the past probably like 2 years, I've just been taking some cooking classes in school, and I find like I'm really, really good at it. I like it a lot. I'm always baking for my friends. I'm always cooking holiday dinners and everything. And I've kind of brought it up to my parents here and there, and I mean, they don't really put it down, but I know like a big thing is the money. I think they don't think I'm gonna make any money in it, and especially I think they think society looks maybe down on chefs, especially if they're not, going to aspire to be some type of famous chef. And obviously, I don't think they can. I would do that. I just kind of, I kind of picture myself like owning my own bakery one day. And but I know when I try and say that stuff to my parents, they don't hear it. I mean, they just kind of know their background and they've schooled me in that, and that's what they want me to do. I think so.
Okay, so we're going to talk about your homework, but I want to talk a little bit more about this because you're saying what you don't think your parents are going to like, but what is it that you think is successful? Like, what is it that you is going to like make you live your dream? Like, you want to do culinary, you want to go to
Mhm.
culinary school. So, what's so wrong with that? Why, I know you think your parents are going to look down on it status wise, but what do your
Mhm.
parents really want for you?
I mean, I think they want me to be able to sustain myself, just to kind of like live an independent life and not be living from paycheck to paycheck or struggling. I think they know for them, the career path that they chose, although a really hard one, it's really paid off for them in the end. And they can say without any worry, like they've set up like for their children, they've set up for themselves later in life. And I think that's like what they're really worried about. But for me, I kind of think I will be successful anyways. Like if I'm doing what I like and what I have a passion for, I think there's always ways to make money in it if I really have a drive for it. But and that's just the status thing. I don't know.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree. I think that what's most important is that you're happy, and I think your parents would agree too. Your parents want you to be happy, and that doesn't mean that just because you're going into culinary that maybe you may not make the kind of money that your parents are making as actors. That doesn't mean you can't be successful in your field.
Right.
Like you said, like you could be the head chef in like a really fancy restaurant, or you could open up your own restaurant or bakery or whatever, and you're a
Mhm.
business owner. Like that's that's something to be very proud of, and that's something
Yeah.
that's looked highly upon in society.
Mhm.
So even if you're not a doctor, you'd still be, looked, if you have your own business, people are going to look at you with a lot of respect.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I'm just having like trouble kind of portraying that to my parents, and I just kind of worry that maybe if I don't follow in their footsteps, maybe I'll be like a disappointment to them just because my older sister did. So I don't know, they might. just with, my senior year ending and plus just the anxiety of, really trying to, figure out this tennis thing and, tennis, I love tennis, but the scouts coming, that's like just added pressure and what if I don't get picked or what if I kind of lose my, free ride to school. So it's like a lot of money based things I think that cause me anxiety.
Okay. So your homework last week was to journal. Things about. I think it was what would it mean if you went to culinary school? What would it mean in your life? What would it mean to your parents? How would things change? And we discussed a little bit about that already. That you think that your parents would maybe be disappointed in you, and stuff like that. But what are the pros and cons between the two careers? Like, how do you feel? Like, I'm sure that you know that pros, you think your parents will be very proud if you're a doctor. Cons, they would think that maybe you weren't as worthy. But I think there's also a lot more pros under culinary as well.
Yeah, I really like the journaling thing. Like, I think it kind of like really put out on paper. Like you said, like there are like a lot more pros I think than I thought before with culinary. Like, I think the main thing was just my parents' happiness. But when I kind of put down all the things that I could be really successful in culinary, I would be happy. I would be following what I like to do, so I know I could sustain myself, like if I always kept that passion. And there were, like, I think a lot more pros, and I think all those pros maybe would add up to my worthiness, I think, for them. Like, if I could show them that I could do this, and this, if I'm ultimately happy that, if I could prove to them that I could be successful, I think, they would be happy too for me. But I feel like I would just have to prove it, and I would have to kind of do it on my own and kind of waver off, their path.
Absolutely. So, what do you think about talking to your parents about this? Do you think that maybe is there one parent that you feel more comfortable with, or do you, because I think that the feelings that you're having are really important, and because you are in your senior year, and I think it would take a lot of pressure off your shoulders if you were able to discuss it with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a spot. I mean, right now, I just feel like it would be a big argument. I do feel a little bit better, like, talking to my dad about it. I just think he might be a little bit more open. Like, I know, like, from my mom, I just kind of see, like, her and my sister kind of, like, share this special bond because they're in the same career. Like, when they talk on the phone, like, they're able to talk about the same things, and they have similar days. And I think I'm just kind of, like, especially with my mom, just kind of worried about losing that relationship, too. Like, her and I, like, me and my family have a bond over tennis. Like, my whole family, we grew up, we played tennis. Like, I love tennis, and that's why I'm in it. But I notice these things, like, with her and, my sister, and I think I'm a little worried of, like, losing that aspect, too. And, like, almost like I wouldn't be worthy as a daughter, almost, who didn't follow in my mom's footsteps.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you think that if you chose the culinary route other than in the medical field, that you would lose the bond that you have with your mom now, because you see how much she bonds with your sister over it, and you don't want to lose that relationship with her.
Right.
Okay, well, I think this is a really important topic, and I think that it's something that definitely needs to be discussed, because I think you're worried that may happen, but your parents, everybody's parents, love them so much that you and your mom can still talk about tennis together. Or maybe your mom and yourself have more qualities the same than your mom and your sister, and you really don't even know that because you just see what they bond on, and you don't see technically what you two could bond on.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something to look into. And if it is easier for you to just maybe talk to your dad at first, then you should do that.
Yeah.
But if but eventually I think that your mom's definitely you're gonna need to talk to her as well.
Yeah.
So maybe like for homework coming up this week, you can try talking to your dad a little bit about it. Just touch on the subject, like see what his thoughts are,
Yeah.
and get a feel for how he thinks. And maybe you'll be surprised that maybe he's, like you said, he's more open, and maybe he would, be okay with it. And also, if you want, we could always bring in your mom and dad here, and we could talk about it as a group, because then maybe it would take a little more less pressure off you, because there's, I'm here as well, and we're all talking about it together.
Yeah. I think that'd be really helpful, just because I think my dad would have my back a little bit and kind of like help me talk to my mom about it, but I can also see him kind of like leaning on both the fences a little bit, and I think, I just don't want to ultimately see like my mom disappointing me, that, I think if she hears somebody from somebody else, and if I could, tell her all the pros, show her kind of like what I've written down and really kind of make the big picture for her, maybe she'd understand that way.
I definitely think that's a great idea, because she might not know very much about culinary. So for her, she just hears what she thinks it is, and so she may not know that much. So that's why she doesn't think so much about it. But if you show her all the possibilities that you have, and all the opportunities you're gonna have, and how happy it's gonna make you, and I think that your mom will be, so happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
And as for the tennis, the scholarship, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So you do your best in your tennis match. I wish you so much luck. I'm sure you're gonna do fantastic. And if you do get a scholarship or you don't, that's not really gonna affect your future, because you're gonna find your way. You'll find a way. You're gonna, go to school regardless, whether it's for culinary or in the medical field, and you'll definitely find your way. You're very smart. You're very, you have it all together. You know what you want. You just need to talk about it with your family.
Organized, I guess, and just like not be so fearful. And once I like write it all out, it does like make it seem less stressful. Once I have kind of like stuff to show her, and like when I feel like a little bit more prepared when I write it out. And that's like a really good point. Like maybe she doesn't know, a lot of stuff, and maybe it's something like different. Like we could bond over, and if I could kind of like teach her something new, and and I guess we do still have tennis, so.
And it would put it in more of perspective for her.
Mm-hmm.
As well as for you, like when you would write it down, like it put it into quite the perspective for you, so it's gonna do the same for her and your dad and everyone else.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good idea.
Okay, good. So hopefully you're gonna try and talk to your dad this week, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and then if your dad's open to it, then maybe you're gonna feel confident enough to maybe even bring it up to your mom. And then if they feel comfortable, and if you feel comfortable, they're more than welcome to come in, and we can all talk about it together.
Okay, I think that's a really good idea.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.